Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Depends on your time and your location. This is Rui Biafra TV. Please, I say welcome you this wonderful evening. Please, I want you to welcome one another by joining us, please. And as you join, please, may you hit the like button. As we are going to move into this, as we're waiting for time for our fundraising, immediately our DPM joins the fundraising, we are going to shut the program down to switch over fully into the fundraising. That is the truth of the matter this evening. So please join me and welcome one another quickly this evening. We do nothing more than to do exposition or histories of countries that have in this world have done in the past what we are on it and what people refuse to let it lie and go do it's supposed to be. So that is why as I welcome you, I will urge you to welcome one another, please. Endeavor to welcome one another this wonderful evening. I urge you to do that. What you will see in our headline is exposition about Exile government name Kashag before declaration. After declaration, CTA. I will get the meaning when we start exposition. Like Brige before declaration, after declaration, USB. I just want to pick only one from all the Exile government in this world. Out of the 75 Exile government in this world we have, I only want to pick one. And the one I want to pick was the one out of the existing Exile. Good evening. And before I go on, please, I don't know whether if you still want to support me on the gadget, whether you want PayPal or dollar account, then anyone you want, I will post it on this link as we are doing this program right now. So in a spot, I will post it here. So if that is any of them you want, if you comment PayPal, I will send it to you on the comment section. You can take it from comment section. If you want dollar account, I will send. Just tell me the one you want then to support me, because I didn't need that gadget. It's never completed because I know what I want and I'm going for it. Something that will help me for research, so that will help me to do what I want to do in this social media. I am here to do different things. That is why it's taking much of our time. Says them with good evening from here. Thank you so much. You catch me on live program today, and I am honored to see. Even today I asked Kai about you. So thank you so much for all you do for the Biafran people. Thank you so much. So my people of Biafra, like I said, we are not going to waste too much time on our intro from our exposition this night. You will understand. I want you to see. That is why I ask a question. Can Ogen Kere, can Shiamaka Jere, can any of these Yeye groups tell us what they are doing? Where has it happened in the world? If they are not betrayers. If what they are doing is not all about betraying the movement that we are into, if it is not, then if it has happened anywhere, I said, out of the 75 existing Exile government in this world right now, in 9 in Africa, can they pinpoint one that after their declaration, they continue using the name that there was answering before the declaration? That is why, if you look at our headline, you will see exposition about Exile government name Kanchakwan is the name from China. And this Exile government from China has been in exile starting from 1995 until 2011, that they make their peaceful declaration. Until this particular year, And up to today, over 50 countries or over 35 countries has organized them, but they refuse to go home. Do you know why? Because of China attitude and because of what China can do to them. That is why, because they are waiting for one thing, only recognition from the UN, from a member of the UN is what they are waiting for. And for their mind, once they get this particular recognition from a member of the UN, they can go home. They want to be a member of the UN. They calculated it from 1995 to 2026. How many years? Now, they had a name they was in as an organization before their declaration. After their declaration, what name are they answering? Or do they do their declaration? After the declaration of their country, they still continuously using the old name that they was using before the declaration. Because ndị Igbo anyị si n'okwu Igbo si ụzọ amara bụ ya lekene egba ya n'ọzọ kọpụta ka esi akpụ. I always use this adage in this my platform because that is exactly where we are. In this 21st century we are into, our people in adage said, "No bro no akpụ ụzọ ama adị akpụ ụzọ ya lekene egba anya n'ọdụ kọpụta ka esi akpụ ụzọ." And this particular exposition we're going to have this night, out of the effective 40 Exile government, they are number 1 because of the activities and where they have gotten themselves into. Out of the most 10 effective, where USB is in number 4 right now because of more activities are coming, the world are still uplifting you up. Before by February 18th, I was at the exposition, USB is in number 5. As of today, USB is in number 1, is in number 4. Out of the 40 Exile, the most effective one, which is on number 10, you have the most effective Exile government. USB, we are declared now, is in number 4. Okay, thank you so much. I will do that. Thank you. Once I post it here, you will see it. Thank you so much. So, on the issue of the USB, is where I am standing. I am talking about the USB. We are answering after our declaration. We shifted into. Somebody was talking in the BGC that that's a part of Brige metamorphose. You don't metamorphose when you go back. You metamorphose what lifted you up front. It's like in a class. What is metamorphose in a class is that you have passed out from JS1, you are entering JS2. Instead of you to enter JS1, you have took the exam, and you did not fail class, so you want to willing to go back and repeat JS1 back. That's what they are doing to you. Nothing more than that. Let's look at example of some Exile countries in the world and see how they did their own. And see how where our own is right now. So, like I said, I will not waste time. We will go in, find out exactly what is missing and why our people refuses. Why our people refuses to adhere, or those who are still on the fallback bridge and those who are still on this BGC. All this are scammers. They are criminals. They never want Biafra to become a country in the first place. None of them want Biafra as a country. That is why they are doing what they are doing. Nothing more than that. The only business they see, you know that Master Kanu said that our people always turn every opportunity as a business. So those that was in our process over all these years, they never made money. They see this our Biafra movement as only way for them to make the money. Because if they accepted the declaration, what will happen? They are no longer in line, and they are no longer making use of the money, or the money they are collecting. The money will run away from them. That is why They are doing what? They continuously on their business aspect of what they believe. That this is the only way I can be a rich man. This is the only way I can be a rich person. This is the only way that I can be able to get what I never get since I was traveled abroad or since in my life, even in the Biafra land. This is only the first time that those in the abroad will be sending money. I will be giving to Biafra Liberation Army. I will be using it to make my own money. That is nothing but that. This is just the simplest I want you to understand. This is what we are passing through today. Nothing more than that. Nothing. So if countries in the world has been able to pass this process that we are passing through today, and they was be able to achieve their recognition, becomes a country in the past. Now, the country I am using to is the one that in this 21st century, not in the past. I mean, in this 21st century, not in the past. Upon their movement started from the 19 to /20th centuries, but they remain where they remain resolute. And as the world is changing, they are also changing with immediate effect and queue in the line. Calculate from 1995 to 2026, how many years? This government who lives in India, this government who are India today are son of the government, they are still dirty today. Their people has never come out and said, we have met all the criteria of the UN, we have met all the criteria, please, the government, we are giving you 60 days. If you don't come back home, we will do something. Our people and their negative thinking and their ignorance, they think is the right thing for them, are deceiving our people so much because of money. None of all these people are doing this because of what? They are only doing what they are doing because of what? Because of they will never want Biafra as a country. They only want to use this opportunity to make money. That is the reason why our people are proving what it's a disgrace to common brain that somebody can apply into what we are doing at this stage. So that is why it is very, very imperative that you as a person understand where this government is and what it simply means to have a peaceful government in exile. So let us go straight. You know how we do it here. You will hear from the voice, then I will do my explanation. Hey, Mazi, Christy Biafra, thank you so much. Thank you. So listen from this.
The Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, is a unique example of a government in exile that has evolved its name and structure over several decades to better reflect its democratic goals and legal standing. 1. Name before the declaration. Before the formal establishment of the administration in exile, the governing body of Tibet was known as the Kashag. The Kashag was the traditional governing council of Tibet, established in the 18th century. It consisted of a small group of ministers, Kalons, who advised the Dalai Lama on both spiritual and administrative matters. When the movement first crossed into India in 1959, they initially operated under this traditional name while they began organizing the refugee community. 2. Name after the declaration. In 1960, the administration made a formal declaration of its intent to govern the Tibetan people in exile. Following this transition, the official name became the Central Tibetan Administration of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In more recent years, specifically after the 2011 transition to a fully secular democratic leadership, the administration often uses the shorter name Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, in international diplomatic circles. In the Tibetan language, it is known as Boshong Gadempho Drang Chogle Nam Gyal. 3. Key dates of declaration and reform. The CTA does not have a single Independence Day, like a standard nation-state, but rather a series of constitutional declarations that established its legal persona. September 2, 1960. This is considered Tibetan Democracy Day. It marks the date the first commission of Tibetan People's Deputies, now the Parliament in exile, was sworn in. This was the moment the traditional religious government declared itself a modern representative administration. March 10, 1963. the Dalai Lama promulgated the Constitution of the Tibetans in Exile, which formalized the government in exile structure. June 14, 1991. The Charter of the Tibetans in Exile was adopted, serving as the supreme law governing the functions of the CTA. 2011. A major legal declaration was made where the Dalai Lama formally devolved his political authority to the elected leadership, Sikyong, making the CTA a purely political entity rather than a religious one. Why the name change matters. The shift from Kashag, a traditional council, to Central Tibetan Administration, a modern-sounding name, was a strategic diplomatic move. It helped the international community view the movement not just as a group of refugees, but as a structured administrative body capable of governance, which is a key requirement for any group seeking international recognition. Would you like to look at the specific language used in the 1963 Constitution to see how they defined their right to govern while in exile?
I hope you paid attention and you're also listening. So when you look at this movement, this is another exile government. And I am telling you, in this 21st century, exile, all the exile government, this Kashag from China is topping the list. They are number one, both inside 75, both the 40, the effective 40, they are number one. In the effective number 10, they are number one. Remark from the year that this government was in exile. Remark from which year did they start the exile government? 1959. Where this government is, they are India. This government has their ground, like the way we have our ground right now in US and in Finland. This government that is in exile or from China, that want to walk away from China, they started from what? 1959 is when they started their movement. Because of the weight and the arm of the level of China today, remember that China is currently now in the 5 world power made up of China, Russia, France, US, and the British or UK. These are 5 world power we have now. Now, in this China, who are a member of who are one of the most powerful country in this 5 world power. These countries want this group or this group of people use the organization starting from 1959 till 2026. They are still in exile. Do you know why they are number one in the world? They have been in exile, print their currency, working in exile, print their passports, accepted for some countries, print their ID card, accepted from their countries. And if you go down to here's how they move. They started with what? They start first when they never make declaration. 2011 of yesterday, they in their movement, they issue ID card first. After the ID card, they issue their currency. After their currency, they issue their ID card. After their ID card, so after their passports, they now make declaration. They never even make declaration, but they have issued currency. They have issued ID card. They have issued passport as a government in exile. Please, as you join me, I want you to hit the like button. If it's the first time joining me, you will see the like on top of your screen on your right. I'm pointing my hand on your right hand side. Please hit that like button there. Then you will join me, please. So like and share, let us know that we are live. Please, before the time of the fundraising will kick off. It's very important if you do so. So, dear friends, let us take example of this particular Exile government. Now, you will compare what is the way of this Exile government that are number one in the world and compare USB we are declared. Remember the name. You already know the name we are answering. When before our real declaration. And after our real declaration, what name are we answering? Have it, or you can put those things on the comment section. So why do I say so? By doing so, you can follow on this exposition we are doing this evening. Now, these people, one is for those who are calling USB. We have met all the criteria of the UN. We give USB 60 days to come back to homeland. Or Ngozi Arabeze to come back to Umokoko, a hungry man who Ogenkere, Imam Mother of them have joined together, pay some women there, come out to come and talk trash. That is how boy a disgrace. One thing that is holding Biafra not to never come is what? Sabotage. No moving forward. They want Master to remain where he is. They want to not just remain agitation and protest. People to contributing money, and they will be taken. What is holding us is internal sabotage. But what ends internal sabotage? What ends this particular in betrayal or saboteur? Internal sabotage is declaration, because the declaration conquers all these things. When the word, even though the declaration is being made by 5 people, so far they hold on that mandate, and from there sending documents everywhere in every appropriate authority. Nobody will stop them, because that is what the world wants. That is how they know the existing. That is how they know the legal room exile government. Now, I will play it again. Pause. We move because of our time to beat up time of fundraising, so we can be able to read this first session before we continue from other days. So listen. Let's start again.
The Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, is a unique example of a government in exile that has evolved its name and structure over several decades to better reflect its democratic goals and legal standing.
I hope you heard it clearly. The Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, is a unique example of exile government that has involved its names and structure over several decades to better reflect its democratic goals and the legal standing. When people believe in armed struggle, when only through a military you can get your own country on the battlefield, this country has already been existing by then. But what happened? Upon that, the world allows in 1959 gun and bullets. They refused to go into gun and bullets with China. They run to India. As I'm talking to you today, this government, the other government of a Central Tibetan Administration, still in exile in India till today. Now, what happened? Because of they know the weight, and the one is if it comes to the armed struggle or to show power, that they do not have power or what it takes to conquer China. And they understand that the world will see their case as an internal affair of China. They don't even look at external remedial succession. They refused. They removed their face from there. What happened? They continue on their movement in exile in India, putting their people together, forming their group to be strong. The name you had be mentioned here, the Central Tabana Administration. This is a country that is coming out from China. So, what was their goal? Their goal and their structure is what they are using in this 21st century. Once you ask of Exile government, they are number one they will give you in this 21st century. This government was in exile over many decades, and their city till this February, till this March 2026, they are still in exile, despite a peaceful declaration. They use their charter, their law, and everything having concluded. Everything you want as a country, even they are training their military in India. None of their military is in abroad. So this particular Exile government that's a part of China, who are moving out from China, remain in exile till today. They have gathered everything. Even some countries today, countries like India knows them, they recognize their ID card. Their people will travel with from any part of countries that are not China they are into. Their ID card trip them into other countries. This is how they are doing. Now, on the issue of them to become a government, to prove that they are a country, they check from 1959 to 2026, how many years they are still in exile. Now, when you look at this is their exile government. They refuse to make declaration. They continue pushing. 1960, they continue pushing. They push until 2011 because the exile government starts immediately. They never protest in China ground. They never protest anywhere at all. The only place they find their way for their safety is where? They find their safety in India. Whatever they are doing it in India and sending to those that are on the ground, and they are acting on the ground like nothing is happening. If you can imagine that a country remained in exile from 1959 to 2006, and then this time around, they use them as the example of exile government, both their structure, their name, and everything that they are doing. They remain in exile. Nobody from their tribe or those who believe what they are doing was accusing them. Despite that, at a stage in 1962/1965, they have betrayers. They manage it. They even have 3 groups. Now, for this particular group that started the journey, what happened? They rush on 2011 and make a peaceful declaration to prove to these people that we are the government. Now, those that refuses to join them, some of them later draw. Then coming into, when you go to the history very well, coming into 2003, another betrayer group fall out from the group. I want you to know that, one, there is nothing you will do that you will not have sabotage on it. This Central Tabana of China, a country from China, they have 3 groups. The original one who make declaration. That was the one that the world are recognizing. Because of over long decade in exile, do you know what happened? One of those groups, out of the 2 that created inside them, that walked away from them, in India, the only this one that make declaration is the one that India is giving asylum. If they are not bringing a document from that complete declaration, those that make decision about the exile government, Nobody sees you. They will even put you in prison. So what happened? A full one group collapsed their own structure and joined back to the group. Then for the other one, till today, some of them come back, some never come back. So I want you to know, one, that betrayers will not see USB and stop. And also the world will focus on the attention on that particular group that make peaceful declaration. In this 21st century that started in 2001, going to end in 2100, the world values a peaceful declaration by Exile government more than any other thing. Once you made a peaceful declaration and stand on it, they treat you as a country. They give you a respect they give a country. That is why you can use USB ID card in any country you are today to seek for asylum, and they'll give it automatically to you. Our brother who was in Turkey, who traveled to Japan, he went to Japan with Nigeria documents. When they said no, he now switched that he is a citizen of the USB. What happened? The matter has changed. They put him in prison. They start asking him questions. Today, he has become a free man in Japan. Because of he present USB citizenship document, he was in prison, and the mission head bring it and give to him in prison, and he showed the government of Japan. Today, he's a free man in Japan. Well, so I'm talking to you now. The final thing they're looking for him is a final grantor, so they can be able to give him a full apartment. I am telling you, somebody I know what is happening as of today. Once he get that grantor on the camp where they put him, now they want to move him from the camp to a full building where he can stay with a 2 years Japanese visa automatically. Only USB citizenship document he presented. You heard him, you are hearing about this from other place. Let me tell you, in this 21st century, after our declaration, no other, if anything you are bringing is not from USB. That's why we are urging people to go and obtain USB ID card. It's a USB ID card. If you are living in America today, so I don't want to live in America, I want to go to China. If you want to, yes, to China or to any other country, with that particular ID card, you change your movement immediately. These are testimonies coming from USB Exile government. Those that have favored so much. Now, let's go back to where we are. Now, remember, this Exile government has been in India for a decade. They never move. They never move an inch. They remain in India. Remember, from 1959 to 2026, how many years? Can someone tell me how many years from this, what I just mentioned now, from 1959 to 2006, to 2026, how many years, my people? They are still in exile. What are they waiting for? They are only waiting for UN recognition, and they are very close to that. I will bring you all those that are in front of USB from number 1 to number 3, and bring you where the world has, in the map of all the exile government, that the United States of Biafra declared is in number 5 in the world. Go and check. On my wall, on my WhatsApp group, is there. I put all the exile government. I also put from Africa. In Africa right now, we have 9 exile governments in Africa. A 9 country will soon merge in Africa. And out of that 9 in Africa, USB we are declared is number 1, followed by Amazonia. These are the most 2 effective as of this 2026 in Africa. 9 country, 9 governments proving they want to have their country. They are 9 in Africa as of now. So USB is not only the one in Africa. Amazonia is not only the one in Africa. And the history of the present Biafra from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, everything started we are in exile because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu registered IPOB organization as a private company in where? In London, which is moreover in England, yes. That is where they started, and that is where this movement begins till today that we are into. So it is very imperative that we all at this stage understand the impact of what we are doing. You don't have to panic. I told you it can, if people can be in exile from 1959 to still on this 2026, who are we? Who are we? And when do we start? When do we start? If not for these betrayers, if not what happened to Abatodi, where we could have been by now could have been where nobody could have believed on it. And the enemy knows that is why they try to do everything to take him out. And those who continue sabotaging the movement becomes a problem. Now let us go. Let us hear their name before their declaration. That is where we are going now.
1. Name before the declaration. Before the formal establishment of the administration in exile, the governing body of Tibet was known as the Kashag.
Are you hearing it? Before the formal establishment of the administration in exile, the governing body of the Tibetan was known as a Kashag. This is the name they use. This is the organization they was using. That time, you see this Tibetan, they never even come across of it. They're using what? Kashag. Kashag. After this Kashag, they use it for how many years? Let us find out. Let us see what happens to them. I want you to know that people in the past have used different names. Like when Obatobe never come, Mazda and Kanu use IPOB. They are in exile, registered in exile. Obatobe use Biafra, the public government in what? In exile, which is BRGIE. That's where we are. Like this people of Kashag. Kashag is what the name they are using. They used to register. Now, when is what happened? Listen to this.
The Kashag was the traditional governing council of Tibet, established in the 18th century. It consisted of a small group of ministers, Kalons, who advised the Dalai Lama on both spiritual and administrative matters. When the movement first crossed into India in 1959, they initially operated under this traditional name while they began organizing the refugee community.
Are you hearing it? For those after the creation, you have to fall back. For those who don't want to move forward, like when you have a child or when you was in school, don't you pass class 1 and enter class 2? After your second term examination, did you fall back to class already passed? That is how you know a movement. That is what they call transition. That is what they call what? Transition. This is how people move. This is how you move from class 1 to class 2, from class 2 to class 3. Let me ask you this question. When you was in primary 1, or sorry, when you was in SS1 or JS1, according to our own criteria of having school, secondary school in Africa or in the zoo where we are fighting to work out from. Now, the question is, when we are on that level, what happened? Can you finish JS1 and you know you passed, and you purposely go back to repeat the class again? Can you do that? So falling back to Brige means that we have never done anything deserve declaration to migrate into a proper way of becoming a country. So this Kashag government in exile, they said, is a very unique example of a structure and a name being used before declaration and after declaration. You know, some people will be doing something. That's why I ask people, you are talking USV, recognition, vibrant economy, and this and that. Can you tell us one country you know their history? How they, from exile, out of all the exile governments in the world, I have counted it to you how many times, how many people that use exile government. Ethiopia in the 18/19/20th century, Ethiopia was used, there was in exile in UK. This pure truth. Some countries in Africa, some use even Netherlands, some use Belgium, depend on where they run into because of what is going on, and whether they will not allow them to be free, to be alive, to avoid being in prison, they run into exile. And our leader, Maazim Nnamdi Kanu, make it clear to you that a good people who are seeking for a new country in this 21st century, they have only 3 places. Number 1 place is what? Exile. Number 2, prison. Number 3, grave. These are the 3 places you have if you are legit fighting. Maazim Nnamdi Kanu, he's here in Nigeria fighting for Biafra as genuine person who is looking for a new country. Maazim Nnamdi Kanu, where the arrest is not in Kenya. They kidnapped him. Even the first time he entered Nigeria, what happened? They put him in prison. So when you are asking, when you are making comments, or when you are talking, or when you're addressing issues, can't we, because of you want money, you want to use money to cover the truth, you want to use money to cover the gospel truth, it can never work in this 21st century. What happened? So let us continue. Remember, we are going to what? The name after their declaration. Now we are on where? The name before declaration. Listen. Before the former establishment of the administration in exile, the governing body of the Taban was known as Kashag. This is the name there. This is what they register in India as a government in exile. Now what happened? This government please, 1 minute. 1 minute. When you are listening to some things, bring it down to USB we are declared. Because when I said we are not the first people to form government in exile, and we are not going to be the last. We are not going to be what? Be the last. So it's better we learn, we copy from some things that are very important that will help us for us to achieve our own country. Then, if these people can be in exile from 1959 till 2020, that's why I asked the question. From 1959 to 2026, how many years? How many years is the question that someone needs to answer? How many years that this government is in exile? So why are you in a hurry when it's come to USB? And why are we not doing the same thing? They use a name, Kashag, make their declaration. Sorry, register as organization. After that, after using that particular name to make their declaration, What happened? After they have used the name to make their declaration, what happened? Now, remember, we are on a name they used before their declaration. Now we are going to do what? We are going to use the for them as our example. We use what? Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Now, how can we make our own, after our own peaceful declaration? We have to fall back and continue using the name. Then, out of the 75 effective exile government and the 40 that have made declaration already, which name are they answering? That's why I said I will bring first 5. Today, I am bringing the number 1. Now, I want to understand that in this number 1 that I'm talking about, that people of that country use a name called Kashag. This Kashag they use as an organization that's where they formed their government body, their structure, and they went ahead. They managed this Kashag from 1959 until 2011. They make their official declaration. They manage the name. They stand on it like IPOB, like when we are in Biafra government in exile, which the structure we use as an where we bring our people together, form the government of US that make the declaration of the USB is the same thing. After this Kashag make declaration, what happened? We are going to find out the name they are answering to today as they are still seeking for recognition. We are going to find out the name. Yeah, Ezewuife, please, I am trying to tag, but YouTube refused me to put the accounts you want. So I will give it to Brokai to tag on his comment section. So if you didn't get it here, Brokai, when he come alive this evening, Mazekai, then he will be putting it until you get it. Please, I will put it there. They refused me to put, this country where I have this my country have very big policy. The same way I find out now they have seized it. The same way I cannot tag my number commission, it will appear by myself. The same way it is from there from account, right? So they make changes as things are going. So whatever we find ourselves like that. And I know it's affecting me so much because many Biafrans who want to help me, this becomes a problem to them. So, but we are moving. So let us go back to our program properly. Let us go back, because everything that the USB government is doing today, people have done it in the past. And the way people are achieving the recognition is that the same process that we must undergo in the 21st century. I have told you, the name they was using before their declaration was Kashag. Again, Kashag. This is what is called Kashag. This is from China. This is the name they use to form. This name they registered as the organization that make a declaration of Central Tubana administration. That's what they answer at this stage. Then they call it that. They make use of a modern name. The same Wabato make use of modern name by letting us understand that our name that is in our ID card is what? United State of Biafra, no longer just Biafra Republic like what it was before. Totally in the modern days world. Let's continue.
2. Name after the declaration. In 1960, the administration made a formal declaration of its intent to govern the Tibetan people in exile. Following this transition, the official name became the Central Tibetan Administration of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Are you hearing it? Now they have made declaration in 1959, they rush in 1960. In 1960, the administration made a formal declaration of its intent to govern their Taban people in exile, following their transition. Following what? Their transition. Now, they have transitioned from Kashag to what? To a name called Central Tabana Administration. They call it what? Transition. Remember, they started in 1959. They started what? In 1959. Then, in 1 year maximum, not even up to 1 year, they rush and make declaration. Do you know why they make declaration? To avoid China tagging them terrorists. To avoid China tagging them any name. To avoid what will lead for them to be arrested in exile. That is where we start. IPOB never knew anything about having a new country. The criteria to achieve a new country. They don't know. They are shouting. I am among them when I was in the homeland, shouting Biafra, Biafra. We do protests, we sing Enyani Biafra, wanting to be if you did not declare it. I remember all our music we normally sing on the line, going on convoy and everything we're seeing today. I was there, very active. This way you see me on social media today. I was there on the homeland, very active. Anything there, and I was active. All the protests, I protest for all of them. I was there. If with my phone that I was using there and it was here, I would have shown you I myself. So I know what I'm talking about. So when IPOB could not be able to IPOB never know road. Yeah, I never know that all this was wasting our time. Just creating awareness, making on social media. That is all we did. Now, what is more important to this is this. I want to understand is this. Remember, the name before declaration, Kashag, was the name before declaration. After their declaration, they started this government in 1959. 1960, they make their official declaration. They declare that we are a country living in exile in India. Is where they are living, in India. That is where this government is living. Now, on this place that this government is living, what happens? What name are they answering to today? What name are they using for their lobby and everything? They use the name. The Central Tabana Administration. They call it of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. They make the declaration. They move away. They call it what? They call it what? Transition. It's only in our own time that we will not make any transition. That is why we go and declare. We fall back, we continue answering Brige until we get recognition. And on which name? That's why I challenge any of them. Give me one country that's meant to have a new country that did not transition from a group to a country by making declaration, both in the 90s and in this 21st century. Give me one country, only one, where you are getting the nonsense that you are seeing on social media today. Now, what happened? Let's continue.
In more recent years, specifically after the 2011 transition to a fully secular democratic leadership, the administration often uses the shorter name Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, in international diplomatic circles. In the Tibetan language, it is known as Boshong Gademfo Drang Choglay Nam Gyal.
This one, I cannot pronounce it, I beg. I don't want to bite my tongue. So, in more recent years, especially after the 2011 transition, on this 2011, they was be able to get one recognition. Their fellow exile government organized them. After that, then the India government never recognized them as a full country because they don't want war with China. And other external countries recognize them. That is when they said that when they make the fully secure diplomatic leadership, the administration, often using the short name CTA, in full meaning, Central Tabana Administration. That was the name they are using for them to achieve their what? Their international what? Recognition as a name of a country. They are no longer using Kashag. Remember that this Kashag was the name they used immediately they moved out. Immediately they formed their government in exile in India in 1959. After the 1959, they make their official declaration in 1960. They continue answering that name. That name leads them to when they be able to get their first recognition. They said on 2011, now calculated from 1960 to 2011, how many years that they stay before they will be able to achieve one recognition. They celebrated about that recognition. When they celebrate about their recognition, what happened? They said, we have transitioned fully secure democracy leadership, because they don't want their name to be tagged terrorists. They don't want any of them to be charged as a terrorist leader or insurgency or all this name that was being by Mazen and the Khan. I have given this example before. Brazil was declared by a woman. A woman who declared Brazil was the woman that the husband is fighting for Brazil to become a country out of the Great Britain. What happened? When they was fighting, the husband is moving away to Britain to tell them, we have declared our country, take your things, walk away. So the woman understand what will save the husband. What happened? The woman, as the man step, he's in the plane traveling to British, and the woman use his cabinet members, they gather together, rally around, and make declaration of Brazil as a country. That is why a woman declared Brazil as a country. That declaration is what saves the husband. Because once they make a declaration and they continue fighting, the husband was not detained up to 6 months. He was out. He became the first president of Brazil. Because the woman declares it. That declaration gives the other people's power to recognize them that are a country under 6 months. And they're still battling British to leave. Like what takes America? Okay, look at it. A woman declares it in Brazil. It takes them 6 months to get recognition, and the husband comes back. America declared their own. It takes America a year and 6 months before they was be able to get one recognition from Morocco, second one in 2 years by France. This people I'm talking about is not, they are not what? They are not in exile, but declaration. I want to understand the value, the quality of declaration. I want you to get the quality of declaration very well, so you can see what declaration can do. And check the history of all the countries that fight through colonial powers. Those that their leader was arrested and put in prison, court never released them free. The declaration mandate and people outside maintaining of that mandate was why they were released. They becomes the president of that country. Example, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya. Example again, Rahman of Bangladesh. Example, there are many in Africa here. What of Nelson Mandela, who fought after that regime? The people he kept outside fight and maintain. When they said, if they visited and said, Nelson Mandela said, stop at home, the people will increase the momentum. And say no. That any press release or any other coming from me that he's under duress. That he's what? Under duress. The same Nelson Mandela told you that if you are fighting for people, if you changes or accepted oppressor because of what your people are complaining, that you are not worthy to fight for a new country, to be a leader either. So when you listen to the history of this country, that is why on my headline you will see that exposition on Exile government, the name before declaration and the after declaration. That's why I say like USB after declaration and the before declaration and after declaration. I put Brige after declaration USB. In this people I use as this example right now, I use Kashag, the name before declaration. After declaration, they answer Central Tabana Administration. In abbreviation, they use what? CTA in bracket, like USB in bracket. If other people call it transition and they walk away from the name they use before they make declaration, is it our own that we are not going to move away from it? We are only the one who will come and be answering it. And I challenge any of them, give me out of the most effective 40 that have made declaration, because 35 never made declaration. 35 have never make what? Declaration. Out of the 4 that make declaration, none of them till today are still answering the name they used when there was just organization, when they never make declaration. What you are teaching in social media, what you are giving to people, because of you want money, you can become a Lai Mohammed. You become Lai Nusumba because you want money. Let's continue.
3. Key dates of declaration and reform. The CTA does not have a single Independence Day, like a standard nation-state, but rather a series of constitutional declarations that established its legal persona. September 2nd, 19...
Are you hearing it? Now, after this the declaration now, do you see hearing Kashanga? Do you? What are you hearing? The key date of declaration of the refer and the referring the Central Tabana Administration. Central Tabana Administration. Are you still hearing Kashanga? No. Then they will now put it in bracket as the name they use. You know the person they use that leads to that transition into CTA, Central Tabana Administration. And you want USB after the declaration, then will now fall back. After that, you metamorphose BGC. Lies upon lies, deceit upon deceit. Because of your envy, your hatred, because of you never want Biafra, and you think calming your voice down, speak good English is the only way. Today is a fundraising. If you are not donating on the USB fundraising, any other fundraising you are giving your money is a force, it's a wayo. If you see that one they call Biafra United fundraising, na criminal people, na wayo be that. Don't put your money there. Ask questions where we donate. Ask questions to give you link. Ask questions to give link for the fundraising. Now, let us go into the question, the program we are treating. The CTA does not have a single Independence Day like a standard nation state because of what? Lack of recognition like USB today. But rather a series of constitutional declaration that establish the legal person, legal again, what USB is pursuing. We are pursuing what? Legal, not illegal. We are this government. Do you hear that? They depend on their military because of they do not have military in the homeland of China. They want to exit from, like people of Biafra right now, people of USB right now. Does this stop countries that are giving recognition? They have got enough of countries recognition. Others, they are waiting for what? Just UN recognition. That is where they are working closely right now. Once they achieve this, the UN has approved them. There we go. That is only where China will not kill them. They want to run away from killing of their citizens, which is what USB is doing for you today. You don't know that. And you are here making noise. You are here castigating yourself. You are here insulting yourself. You are here making more of social media and think we are talking. And then we have something to say. Lie upon lie. Why are you lying, Usumba? Why are you lying, Usumba? Why? Because of your greediness, you can't follow the reality. Why? Because of your greediness, you can't follow the truth. Because the truth ends all criminalities, and you can never steal from people again. And because of you know that you don't steal with people that you will not eat. That is why you're doing what you're nothing more than that. That is why you are doing what we are doing. There is no other intention of what we are doing except because of you know that if you don't lie against Biafra, that you will not eat anything. I hope you are getting it clearer. If you are still doubting, if you are still on the fence, this is the pure truth. Let's use examples of others because I believe in the history must repeat. If you listen to the history of this Kashag that's transitioned into central tabana of administration, it's not what we are doing today. This country now, over 40 to 30 countries in the world recognize them. Their passport is moving, their ID card is moving, their currency is trending also. But they are not in their homeland in China, where China possess their land like the way Nigeria is right now. I ask a question. From 1959 to 2026, how many years, my people? How many years? Over a decade and decade. They have stayed getting to over 4 decades outside there. They are remain focused and remain resolute. Today, they are number 1 in the world. Remember when they started though? 1959 to 2026. Okay, now the USB that was declared 2024, November the 29th, we are number 5. And in this March, as we are stepping into the March, we are number 4. One of the most effective in the world. The one that the world are seeing their actions, the one that are carrying themselves as structure of a government of a country. USB. USB. Now let us continue. Because their movement continues. Listen.
60. This is considered Tibetan Democracy Day. It marks the date the first commission of Tibetan People's Deputies, now the Parliament in Exile, was sworn in. This was the moment the traditional religious government declared itself a modern representative administration. March 10th, 19...
Are you hearing it? I hope you are listening. September 2nd, 1960. This is considered Tibetan Democracy Day. It marks the date the first commissioner of Tibetan people, deputy, now the parliament in exile, was sworn in. They formed what? Parliament in India. They formed their parliament in India. USB formed parliament in India, Ara tomorrow. But a country has done it. After their declaration in 1960, then they hold on September 2nd, when they swear their people in. Those that are the government structure of Tibetan exile government. They have their parliament today in India, till today. This parliament, they swear them in when? They swear them in when? 1960. And that is the day they use as their what? As their Independence Day. Remember that their declaration. You see when I say that no member of IPOB know what it takes to have a Biafra. Tubano did not carry placards in China. They did not any protests in China. What happened? They went to India. From there, they started whatever they are doing outside. Only some few months. They started January 1959. January 1960, they make their declaration and have a structure. Now, when they form their parliaments, they swear them in September 2nd, 1960. Under that 1 year, those that want a country, not those who want to make money, And let me tell you, inside this Tobano Exile government, later they have three groups. One first say no, that they want to continue using Kashag. What happens? They go, their people was coming small, they run away. Then a new one emerged with another different name outrightly. The people that use Kashag, they fall into the declaration of Central Tobano Administration. They collapse it and join the moving train. They understand what is called transition. Now, these people that are refused to come back, that are still today in part of India also, claim what they are. See, do you see how the history is repeating? This is the same government that moves away from Tabano that make declaration, and the Tabana administration that make the declaration. What happened to them? The other people, the new group have moved. They went out totally, and the answer Central Pachapancha something, they put their own there. They said that they have transitioned from this old government that made the transition to a new transition. This one now, they agree they were transition, but the one of fallback never know it's called transition. They don't know what the word call what transition, and the transition is moving. People are moving. People are going on with the movement. And they remain where they are, refuses to move with their people. The same thing is what we are passing through today. The same thing. So when you see this US government, my people, stand on the side of the United States of Biafra government, stand strong. That is your government. That is exactly what we are passing through today. Is what Kashag, that's in the government in exile is in China. Is in India today. They started their movement from 1959. After the 1959, then 1960 January, they make the official declaration. After the declaration, they remain in exile till today because they don't have what it takes to go and fight China as a country that they are opting out from. Today, about 30 to 40 countries have recognized them, but they refuse to go home because of what? They want to get a seat in the UN before they go. So before they can go home, so China will not attack them. The declaration serves their leader. None of their leader was arrested. That is why they rush, because they understand the criteria of having a new country. Both in the old of 18th centuries to 20th centuries, talk less of this 21st century. And because of their good attitude, their transition, if the world is changing, they are changing. That is why they're number one in the world. Today, as I'm talking to you, they are number one in the world. No other country is beating them around the globe today. They are number one. Now, when you look at their history and look at what USB is passing through, is it not the same thing? Is it not the same that we are passing through today? The program we are doing is the headline. What we are discussing is about we're making an exposition on exile government that has existed before us. There is people of China. China want to divide into three places. China is about to divide into three places. Then one of them has been exiled in India from 1959 till 2026. What I am making a suggestion is that the name they are used, that is, if you look at my headline, the name they are answered before declaration and the name that they answer after the declaration. Before the declaration, they answer Kashag. After the declaration, 1960, they started their movement in India, 1959. 1960, they make their declaration. When we are singing Nigeria have independence, 1960, people make the declaration of their country called Central Taban Administration. Central Taban Administration, because it's from China. So when they made this declaration, after the declaration, they abandoned, they leave the name Kashag and start answering Central Taban. That is what is called transition. For those who fall back and for those who BGC metamorphose, imagine the lies in this 21st century where everything is in the open. And people continuously lying because of they want money. Yes, I also tell you, if you want to go super chat, you are free to support us with anything you can, no matter how it will come at last. We manage it like that because of the project we have here to get a gadget. Please, if you want to do that, you are free from the comment section. You will see our super chat is working, so you can do that if you want to. Just anything that is from your mind. So, when you listen to people's movement, you ask yourself, your movement, where does it stand for? I use one example. In our life, we do transition. You are not in one place. What do I mean? When they send you to secondary school from class 1 to class 2, after you have write good exam and result comes out, teacher said the school will prove that you passed. After you passed, are you going to go back continue JS1? Please. That is where these people are. They remain where they are. No movement, no transition. Because they want to continuously proving power. I am in charge. We are the one who come to YouTube, talk to people, and people are listening. We have followers. Is it what bring you? Look at this example of Kashag, who later becomes, after 1 year, automatically, they didn't even waste time. 1959, January. Then, January 1960, they make their declaration. The same January 1960, September 2nd, they elect their parliament and they put them in action for them to carry them go on. Do you know why this thing is very important for us to know? Do you know that because of this, their declaration very quickly, that nobody arrested any of their leader? Nobody. And China could not be able to tag them terrorists. Because the law prohibits you to tag a country, those that call themselves a country, a terrorist group. Even you cannot even call them secession anymore. Because of what? The peaceful declaration they made. In the 1959, where people are still under gun and bullet to have a country, they refuse. Now tell me what they can do with the world power like China. People are existing and still remain in exile. After over 40 or 30 countries have recognized them, they are still remaining in exile. Why do they do that? Because they don't want to buy their people. Like today, if our people could have assimilated themselves into USB, nobody will buy anybody or arrest anybody in Biafra land anymore. But people say no. So those that are dying today in Biafra land, their blood is in the head of Ogenkere, Radio Rama, Chiamaka Ajere, we go 247 and all of them. That is where we will ask the blood of all the innocent Biafrans who died after this peaceful declaration. Just continue.
1963. The Dalai Lama promulgated the Constitution of the Tibetans in Exile, which formalized the government in exile structure.
Are you hearing it? Now, the movement started. In 1963, they do what? They put up their perfect constitution of Tabana exile government, which formalized in the government in exile structure, USB. About to be put our words, our structure down. And he told us in one of the broadcasts, not even with us, in the damage program, that if he's not there, that the structure for us to have Biafra as a country, that he has laid it down. Now, is it that structure that has already laid down? Is when we're going to fall back? when we fall, where are we going to be? How are we going to move to get that Biafra? He said that without him being here, that every structure to achieve Biafra as a country has already been laid down. How can you achieve it? Look at what our constitution is not here with us, is in the Amazon. Go there and get your own $100. Let's continue. March 1963, the Dalai Lama put their constitution with the government in exile, which formalized government in exile structure. Now the government is in structure because of what? Constitution.
14th, 1991. The Charter of the Tibetans in Exile was adopted, serving as the supreme law governing the functions of the CTA.
Are you hearing it? They use what? In the only constitution they lay hand first is what? They first lay their hand in what? In the charter. That the Tabana Exile government was adopted, serving as their supreme law, governing the function of the CTA as their country. That central Tabana administration, in abbreviation, they call it what? CTA. So when you hear CTA, do not be confused. It's the abbreviation like when we said USB. That is how it goes. Let us listen.
11. A major legal declaration was made where the Dalai Lama formally devolved his political authority to the elected leadership, Sikyong, making the CTA a purely political entity rather than a religious one.
Are you hearing it? Now, as they are moving, 2011, a major legal declaration was made when CTA formally devolved his political authority to the elected leadership. Now, remember, from 1959 to 2011, they elected person as their president. So the president of the Kashag, who transitioned into Central Tabana administration, their president today is in India, governing them there. They make election. Their president is in India, governing them from India. Their people. Can you hear that? That is the president that are moving everywhere to seek recognition for them. If tomorrow, if you go to the president, say, let us elect president in exile, Arabandiara. And they never knew that this is a criteria how other peoples was be able to achieve their own country. Please, I urge you to like and share and subscribe on our two page. If your first time coming, there is a 3 dots in front of you. Please click on that 3 dots. You will see like and share. Please subscribe and leave your notification on so you know whenever we are live. Please enable to do that. So now that you had it, that on 2011 of yesterday, they make their first election. They produce a president which they call Sinjong. Is the name of the man elected as the president, and that is the man who are up to today managing the affair of this Central Tabana administration as a country, no longer as a religion, no longer as a group of people, but as a political entity. That is what Batobi register Brige as an entity. But Mazen Kano registered IPOB as a private company. You see the difference of this 21st century, how things are working perfectly.
Why the name change matters. The shift from Kashag, a traditional council, to Central Tibetan Administration, a modern...
Let's know why the name change matters. After their declaration, why they must change to the name they are declared. They change from the Kashag, a traditional council, to what? To Central Tabana administration as a country. The shift, the transition. Why the name changes matters. Why must they change the name? Why they must stop using that name they are using? Why they must stop using it? What happened? They shifted from Kashag, that is the spelling, Kashag, is the first name they was using. as the organization, they make declaration of a nation called Central Tabana Administration. That is the name they use. Now, a traditional council to Central Tabana Administration, a modern sound name. A modern sound what? Name. Instead of Kashag. Instead of, we are but people are making changes. And why the changes name matters most? Because you must present the name of a country act as a council or a government of a country with a structure, with laws and charter. Umokoko. Listen to, tell me what you are preaching in BGC, what you are preaching in RCC, where it has happened before. Do you even know this 21st century law, what it's all about? Do you know that this 21st century law surrendered everything about having a new country, both military, both government, everybody have their branches. If you want to be, if you're a Biafra military today, if you want to know about your duties and how you can present yourself in the world stage right now, go to Geneva Convention, extraordinary protocol. Go there for 21st century for you to become a military of a new country that was just declared. Go there and find out. It is in the open. Geneva Convention. That is where what you use to lecture yourself without anybody telling you. You become a very effective military that has respect in the eyes of the international global community. Let's continue.
And sounding name was a strategic diplomatic move.
Do you hear it? That is the name they use in their strategic diplomatic move. This is the name they are using. Remember, why the name changes matters. The chief from the Kashag, a traditional council, to Central Tabana Administration for a state, a modern sound name of a country, was a strategic diplomatic movement. It helps them for what?
The international community view the movement not just as a group of refugees, but as a structured administrative body capable of governance, which is a key requirement for any group seeking international recognition.
Are you hearing it? I hope you are listening. The name shift from Kashag, the National Council, to Central Tabana Administration for a country, a modern sound name for a country, was a strategic diplomatic move. It helps the international community. It helps the international community view the movement not just as a group of refugees, but as a structured administration body of a capable of a government to organize their people. Do you hear it? For diplomatic movement, they use a name that suits a modern sound name as for a country that they use to achieve what? Their international recognition. Diplomatic recognition. I want to read it back again so you may understand it well. Pedaka, good evening, and Ekwem Justice, good evening, my brother. Thanks so much for coming. Yes, I never get some people today. I see you, Tina. Good evening from here. I see Exile Wife. Thank you so much. I see Onyangosi. Thank you so much. I see Mommy Flora Mommy. Good evening. Sorry. Good evening. Okay, Shubu, good evening from here, and all that have read before. So you're welcome to the program. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let me read here again. This is your take home today before we enter into the fundraising. Remember, why the name changes matters after declaration. Why the name changes matter after declaration. They shift from Kashag, a traditional council, and today people are telling you that we are BGC, the council. Hey, Jesus Christ, because of money. To Central Tabana Administration, a name of a country, modern sound name, was a strategic diplomatic move. Modern sound name, Central Tabana administration, a modern sound name like United States of Biafra. Like what? United State of what? Biafra. Remember that. It helps what? It helps international community view them. View the movement not just as a group of refugees. That is how they see you and your Brige of Ogenkere. This is how they see all of you. But as a structure, as a structured administrative body capable of governance as a country in waiting, which is a key requirement for any group seeking for international recognition. Remark this word, a key requirement that you must change that name that you was using the word receive as a refugee group. Today, you want us to fall back. Shame on all of you because you want money. You want to remain in power. You come out, you cook lies and tell our people every blessed day. This last place is made up of this program today. Why the name changes matters. They chief from Kashag, a traditional council, to Central Tabana administration. They chiefed. They make their declaration 1960, September 2nd. They said their movement of Kashag as a name of a refugee group in 1959. 1 year maximum, they make a declaration. They continue answering which name? Which name do they answer? They answer Central Tabana administration. They are government in exile. This country I mentioned, this government is number one of the most effective one. Where USB fall in March now, number 4. Remember, I told you in February, USB fall in number 5. Then now they fall in USB fall in number 4. You see how the government is uplifting every blessed day because of the activities they are doing that international global community are watching. That's why I told you the international global community are not reasoning like you. They are seeing. They are not blind. They are not what? Blind. That is why we have to understand where we are, what we are doing, and why we must continue, because USB is the only solution. The world knows us right now. That is why the work I talk about Biafra. And you're claiming IPOB, you are claiming fallback, you are claiming BGC. Deceive yourself. Abba Obie knows the truth and know his structure and what he wanted. That he wants a new country, not a group, not BGC, council member. These are pure truth. So, I will play it once again. Then we are going to shut down after playing it and do some touches to remind you something on it again. Then after that, we know we are fundraising at 10 o'clock. 8 o'clock Biafran time. Then we will join the fundraising.
Would you like to look at the specific language used in the 1963 Constitution to see how they defined their right to govern while in exile?
Now, let us play it fully again so you may follow up.
The Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, is a unique example of a government in exile that has evolved its name and structure over several decades to better reflect its democratic goals and legal standing. 1. Name before the declaration. Before the formal establishment of the administration in exile, the governing body of Tibet was known as the Kashag. The Kashag was the traditional governing council of Tibet, established in the 18th century. It consisted of a small group of ministers, Kalons, who advised the Dalai Lama on both spiritual and administrative matters. When the movement first crossed into India in 1959, they initially operated under this traditional name while they began organizing the refugee community. 2. Name after the declaration. In 1960, the administration made a formal declaration of its intent to govern the Tibetan people in exile. Following this transition, the official name became the Central Tibetan Administration of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In more recent years, specifically after the 2011 transition to a fully secular democratic leadership, The administration often uses the shorter name Central Tibetan Administration, CTA, in international diplomatic circles. In the Tibetan language, it is known as Boshung Gademfo Drangchoglay Namgyal. 3. Key dates of declaration and reform. The CTA does not have a single Independence Day, like a standard nation-state, but rather a series of constitutional declarations that established its legal persona. September 2, 1960. This is considered Tibetan Democracy Day. It marks the date the first commission of Tibetan People's Deputies, now the Parliament in Exile, was sworn in. This was the moment the traditional religious government declared itself a modern representative administration. March 10, 1963. The Dalai Lama promulgated the Constitution of the Tibetans in Exile, which formalized the government in exile structure. June 14, 1991. The Charter of the Tibetans in Exile was adopted, serving as the supreme law governing the functions of the CTA. 2011. A major legal declaration was made where the Dalai Lama formally devolved his political authority to the elected leadership, Sikyong, making the CTA a purely political entity rather than a religious one. Why the name change matters. The shift from Kashag, a traditional council, to Central Tibetan Administration, a modern-sounding name, was a strategic diplomatic move. It helped the international community view the movement not just as a group of refugees, but as a structured administrative body capable of governance, which is a key requirement for any group seeking international recognition. Would you like to look at the specific language used in the 1963 Constitution to see how they defined their right to govern while in exile?
I hope you paid attention and I want you to take this particular last paragraph home. This is your take home today in everything. What is the place I want to take home is where I'm going to repeat right now. Why the name changes matters. Why the name changes matters. They shift from Kashag, a traditional council, to Central Tibetan Administration. A modern sound name was a strategic diplomatic move. It helps the international community view the movement not just as a group of refugees, but as a structure, administrative body capable of governance, which is the key requirement for a group seeking for international recognition. So ask all these groups that are making noise, where are they? IPOB. Hey, the problem is that when you don't, when something you don't know, when someone who know more than you emerge, what's supposed to do? You're supposed to join the moving train. You're supposed to join those who know it more than you. You're supposed to belong on that class and you can be able to reach home. It's like when you are tired or when you are moving on the road, your car tire got spoiled and somebody volunteered to donate a spare tire for you and said, let's use this spare tire. And he said, no, I don't want. I'm waiting for, I want to remain here. I want to wait for mechanic to come and patch the old tire. That's what it just is. This is what it just is. Nothing more than that. So let no one deceive you. Let no one tell you otherwise. This is where we are. The name changes is a criteria to seek for international recognition. So why? Because with that name, they will stop seeing you as a common group. With what Ogenkre is doing, there are a group of people, BGC group. The only USB is the government in exile that's met all these criteria today. This is why you must give a round of applause to Dr. Ngozi Orebeze, flowing the legacy, the restructure of what Obatobi wanted. Do not mind those that are making social media. It's not about making noise, but it's all about the smartness and the geopolitics that the world are playing. It's not by wearing big suits. It's by the intelligence. It's by the smartness. That is how you got it. It's not by highest voice. It's not by highest builder, but it is about using the opportunity on the criteria of the international global community, my people. So like I said, we are going to end it up here. We join the fundraising. Thank you so much on the Zoom. You know that one already. I don't think I will scream it, but if I will, you will later find out.